Welcome to r/EntitledParents. In today's stories, a careless mum ruins their own child's clothes, an EM mistakes her injection pen as a drawing pen, and of course, an EM wants to push in line because they have children, and they also want their phone. What is up, guys, and I do hope you're well. If you do enjoy Reddit stories, don't forget to click that subscribe, that like button, and maybe, just maybe, if you fancy it, that notification bell. And with that being said, let's get started. Our first story is from Lalo94. Just because you have 2 kids doesn't mean you get to push in and then demand my phone. I was sat waiting for the bus to my friend's house as I'm cat sitting for her while she is on holiday. It's only 5 minutes to the bus, so I just pull my phone out and play a game. As I'm waiting, a mother and her friend arrive. She sits her toddler next to me and stands with her pram, talking to her friend and bouncing her baby in her arms, getting it to calm down. Not an issue with that. Babies can be fussy, and the toddler was quietly staring around. After a moment, he tugs on his mum's top and she turns to him and asks to play on the phone. I'm not properly paying attention, so I assume he means his mum's phone and don't look up. After some more chattering that I tuned out from, someone taps on my shoulder and I look to the mum. The mum says, "Could my kid play on your phone till the bus gets here?" I say, "Sorry, he has my ticket on and I'm also waiting for a phone call," which I was and still am. The mum says, "It won't be for long. He's really bored and his sister won't settle unless I bounce her, so I can't entertain him." At this point, it's 2 minutes to the bus and I'm not giving her kid my phone for him to drop it or get it sticky. I say, "I'm sorry, it's only a few minutes to the bus and him getting bored isn't my problem." She then says, "Selfish bee, I hope you never have kids, you don't deserve them." And I said, "Well, what luck. You hope I never have kids and I don't want kids. How about that? Now please leave me alone." I got a bit sassy as my day has been very tiring so far. I just want this encounter to be over. And when the mum doesn't reply, I'm thankful it is over. Or at least I think it is. The bus pulls up. And as I grab my bag, the mum pushes past me and the others to the front of the line, including pushing past another mum with a double pram with thankfully sleeping twins in it, causing everyone to either roll their eyes or make a comment which she ignores. I just ignore her. There are very few people on the bus, and the bus has plenty of seats, so that is no issue. She isn't going to stop anyone getting on, though it seems the driver isn't too happy with her and refuses to give her a ticket. She gets to the back of the line, which has been joined by an out-of-breath mum with a pushchair and 3 kids old enough to walk, ranging from bored-looking teen to maybe 9-year-oldish. I don't know how old exactly. After a bit of back and forth with the bus driver, she moves out of the way and lets everyone else on. I make sure to smile at her as I get on. When everybody else is finally on, she starts to get on and the bus driver informs her she would have to fold her pram down, as the pram is a double pram and the other lady's pram is taking up the pram spaces. Her face was hilarious. If she hadn't been so impatient, she would have not had to do that, though she quietly and quickly folded it down and got on, sitting with a face of thunder while I'm sat here smirking like a Cheshire cat. I never quite understand how anyone, if you have kids or what, even if how they can just ask for someone's phone. Imagine someone coming up to you and saying, "Can I have your phone for my kid?" I mean, who in their right mind is going to say, "Yeah, okay"? Because if they smash it, the mum isn't going to pay for it, and you damn well know that. I mean, come on, man. Our next story is from Greg's Reddit account. Careless mum put down child in my soup and wants me to replace the clothes she ruined. I'm sitting in the lunchroom at work eating my soup while watching Fresh Prince on my phone, and some woman who I've never met before enters the lunchroom. Without even looking, she drops their baby carrier, diaper bag and shopping bags, we work across from the mall, at the table where I'm eating. The baby carrier catches the edge of the bowl, throwing delicious pea soup into the air and onto the baby carrier and all over one of the shopping bags, which had been sat down on a chair. It was really impressive, and I'm kind of bummed that no one else saw it happen. Before the pea soup even landed, the lady has left the lunchroom and has gone to talk to our boss. I take a look at the baby, and it doesn't look like the baby got any soup on him, or her, and isn't burned, so my good deed for the day is done. I leave the mess. I only have 30 minutes for lunch, and this funt just wasted 10 minutes of it. I'm not just about to spend the rest of my lunch cleaning her mess. I head out the door to grab some McDonald's across the street. Wanted to let Ian know what she did on my way out, but she was in my boss's office with the doors closed, and I was hungry. I get back from McDonald's with 1 minute to spare and get back to my desk. I get back, log in, and immediately supervisor comes over and gives me the we're not supposed to eat at our desk talk, and I tell him what happened. He walks over to the lunchroom and peeks inside. He chuckles a little and then turns back to me. "Enjoy your lunch," he says. Once I'm about halfway through my McChicken, my supervisor tells me to go to the boss's office, so I do. My boss is very peed off. EM is sitting there. My boss asks why I dumped my soup all over EM's things. I say, "I didn't." The boss said, "Were you the one eating pea soup in the lunchroom?" "Yes." "So how did EM's stuff get covered in pea soup?" I said, "Well, I was sitting down eating and she walked in and dropped the baby carrier on my food while I was eating it. Soup went everywhere and I wasn't about to spend the rest of my lunch cleaning it or go the rest of the day without eating because some person I've never met is throwing babies around the lunchroom." So I went across the street and bought another lunch. EM gets shrill. "He's lying. He did it on purpose and all my new clothes are ruined. He could have even burnt my baby. You're going to pay me back for everything you destroyed. The carrier, already covered in dry puke. The clothes, her fault. And my purse." She didn't even have a purse. I said, "What can I possibly gain by dumping soup on your things? You know what? F it. Boss, just go look under the baby carrier." "What's under the baby carrier?" I say, proof that she's lying. EM gives me the most confused look I've ever seen someone make. It was a combination of, "What are you talking about?" and "Why are you doing this to me?" I think she actually thought that I damaged her stuff on purpose, and she could not believe that she could have done something so stupid, which is funny because there's been an unsupervised infant in the lunchroom for 30 minutes now. I was going to ask that. EM chases after boss and I'm following right behind him. When we get to the lunchroom, a small crowd is gathered around the baby because of that sweet natural 18 charisma, and the boss asks everyone to clear out. Boss didn't even have to move the carrier. Sure enough, under the carrier, half sticking out, they find the paper towel I had put down as a placemat, the plastic utensils I had set out, the plate I had under my bowl, and the bag of saltines I brought in from home. My boss sighs. "EM, go home." The EM says, "What about my stuff?" My boss says, "Take your things and go home." As it turns out, she'd been one of the supervisors I'd been on maternity leave since before I started. She came in because her and the boss were friends, and she wanted to come by and show off all the clothes she had bought, now that her figure had come back. She blew her entire check on clothes that are now covered in pea soup and can't be returned. She took my half of a McChicken on the way out and threw it in the garbage. My boss gave me a McDonald's gift card that she keeps for rewards, most calls, best reviews, etc., and gave me an extra break to go and get another McDonald's. I start supervisor training next week. Glad I won't have to work under EM. Oh, I really enjoyed that. But the whole way through the story I was thinking, what the hell? This EM has just left this baby unsupervised in this room this whole time. I mean, god damn. Our next story is from Durburger. EM wants to let her kid kill himself whilst drawing using my medicine. So, a little backstory. I'm a 15-year-old student, I'm a diabetic, I use an injection pen, and I have a job down at a local cafe in town. Now, everyone in town is friends with my mum, whether through school, nursery, town council, you name it, she's friends with everyone. Because of this, my mum knows everything in town, but the downside is that she will sometimes tell everyone about what's happened at home. This is kind of good because everyone in town knows that I'm a diabetic, so they could help me if needed. This was also the reason I was able to get the job I have. The long version of how I got my job, I can explain later if asked. But basically, if I eat, my blood sugar goes up, so it ensures that I won't have to try and sneak cakes and brownies from the cafe, as previous employees have. Now to the story. I was at work on a Saturday, and because it's the weekend, I work from opening time, 9 GMT, to closing time, 7 GMT. And it was a pretty regular day, with the same group of old ladies coming in around 11 for tea and cakes, and the same group of builders who have been coming in for the last week on their snack break. So altogether, a pretty normal day, with just a bit more of a tip than usual. In comes EM, who's friends with my mum, along with an annoyed husband, their teenage daughter, and their 5-year-old son. Now this was just before my lunch break, so I was just about to go into the break room to do all my diabetes stuff. All my diabetes stuff was in the front of my apron, so the insulin pen was poking out. This will be relevant later. And have my lunch when EM beckons me over from the door. So being the obedient worker bee that I am, I go over and talk. She says, "Aren't you supposed to take us to a table?" I say, I guess if you want me to." "Well, you're supposed to, so yes." So I take her over to the nearest table and help them getting their order sorted. I then proceed to the counter and get the cakes and brownies and whatnot that they ordered. That's when I hear the following conversation. The EM talking to the son. "Honey, no you can't draw with my lipstick." "But mummy, I want to do a draw." EM then sees my injection pen poking out the front of my apron, beckons me over again, and the following conversation ensues. EM said, "Can my son borrow your pen for a second so he can draw?" I'm slightly confused. "I don't have a pen." EM points to my injection pen. That pen, now. Oh, this one, I can't let your son have this because it's got my medicine in it. You should know this because you're friends with my mum. I don't care about your effing stupid diabetes. My son wants to draw, so stop being a selfish funt and give him your pen. I'm shocked at the rudeness of this woman. Look, miss, I can't give him or you my pen due to health and safety concerns, and also he could die if I give it to him, so no. Some of my fellow employees are just coming in from the break room in the kitchen, and this is when crap hits the fan, because she proceeds to stand up and get her husband, who was in the toilet, so that he could deal with me. This guy was in his late 30s, probably weighed 3 times his wife, and was buff, like super buff, but I knew him from around town, and assumed this dude wouldn't hurt me because he was pretty chill. The EM said, I just told my husband what's happening, and he's gonna get you. Me, annoyed at this bee. I'm not scared of guys who's married to an effing stick insect. The husband exits the bathroom with veins bulging and murder in his eyes. Boy, was I wrong about him not hurting me. Husband then proceeds to storm up to me, pick me up by my neck, slam me into the wall, and get right up in my face and yell in a voice that made him sound like a lighthouse. The husband said, why are you disrespecting my wife and making my son upset? I'm struggling to breathe. I'm trying to stop your son from potentially killing himself. The husband is calmer than before, but still pretty mad. You need to help the customer and make sure they're satisfied. Are you not? So why in the name of effing Jesus Christ himself are you not tailoring to my wife and son? I said, look sir, my medical condition could kill me, and this pen, gesturing to my insulin pen, is one of the only things keeping me alive. If I gave this to your son, he could stab himself and then we need to go to hospital to stop his body from shutting down and dying. The husband then slaps me. Hard. I fall back and twist to stop myself from being hurt, but in the process, I drop my insulin pen and it smashes. Little bits of glass fall like snow, and then the smell of my medicine hits me. For those who don't have diabetes, insulin smells horrible. It's a combination of strong hospital chemicals and a cow turd. The smell makes me throw up all over the floor, and then finally my co-workers decide to call the police. The family stays behind because the parents thought they did nothing wrong. This all ends with the police coming to the cafe, asking what happened and asking if they could view the security tapes. They watched the tapes in shock at the fact that this man was okay with just beating up a kid because his wife said to. The parents were handcuffed and taken away. This happened about 3.5 to 4 months ago, and now the EM and her husband are in court. Last I heard of it, that they were facing a sentence of at least 5 years, paying to replace my insulin pen and $250,000 in compensation money. Justice is a cake best served with a nice cup of tea. Wow, that's one of those stories that's like so crazy. You don't know whether to believe it or not, but let's just go with that, we're believing it, because oh my word, imagine like a massive guy picking up a kid by their neck and just shouting in their face. Oh my god. Anyway guys, I just want to say a massive thank you as always for being here. If you did enjoy these stories, don't forget to click that like, that subscribe button, and maybe that even notification bell, and I will see you in the next one. Much love.